On Monday, May 25th, America will observe Memorial Day, a day where we honor the men and women who have died while serving in the U.S. military. One of the most hallowed and recognizable sounds associated with the day are the 24 notes known as taps. Welcome to the Musicians Camp. We are at Harrison's Landing, Virginia. It is July of 1862, and we have been fighting the American Civil War for just over a year now. When we look at the armies of 1861 through 1865, they did not have the technologies that our modern army possesses. So instead of being able to command soldiers in the field using satellites and radios, the American Civil War soldier relied on this, the bugle. The bugle was the communication device for the armies on the battlefield as well as in camp. It is an instrument that belongs to the brass family, and it has two main parts, the mouthpiece and the body, which is just a coiled brass tube. To play the bugle, you start by pressing your lips together, like when you say the letter M. With your lips pressed together, you force air between your lips, causing them to buzz. Now the mouthpiece will focus that buzz. When we change the pressure of our lips or vary the airspeed, we can change the pitch of the bugle. The tube of the body will amplify the sound of that buzz. Under the right conditions, the bugle can be heard up to a mile away or even further. While the armies were on the move, the bugles would be used to pass orders down from the officers to the soldiers in the field over great distances. The bugle could command the men to charge forward and commence firing their rifles, or he could cause them to fall back and retreat and cease fire. Now, while in camp, the bugle operated much like our school bells do. Every part of a soldier's day was organized by the bugle. There were bugle calls to tell you when to wake up, a call to tell you when to assemble for the roll or attendance. There were bugle calls for breakfast and dinner. There were bugle calls to signal the end of the workday, much like our school bell does at 3:15. And of course, there was a bugle call to tell you when lights were supposed to be put out. In 1861, when the war started, the last call of the day was known as to extinguish lights, and it sounded like this. Daniel Butterfield, a general in the Union Army, felt that the formal sounding call was not a fitting end to the day's work and wanted a call that could honor his men who fought and died in the 7 days battle. With his brigade bugler, Oliver W. Norton, the two wrote and refined the melody of taps that we know today. The new call that was sounded that night in July of 1862 quickly spread to the rest of the units in the Union Army, and reportedly could be heard being sounded by the Confederates as well. taps became an official military bugle call after the war ended. Well, I suppose that's enough standing around. It's time to get the men assembled and get this army moving again. This year, due to COVID-19, many Memorial Day services are being canceled. Taps for Veterans is an organization dedicated to providing live played taps for any serviceman or woman who has earned that privilege through the service to their country. This year, Taps for Veterans is organizing an event, a national moment of remembrance, where buglers and trumpeters across this country will sound taps in their neighborhoods. So if you or any member of your family can play the trumpet or the bugle and is interested in sounding taps at 3 o'clock local standard time, then take a look at tapsforveterans.org.